If you're a man over 60 and someone has ever told you, just eat more vegetables and you'll be fine, I want you to stop whatever you're doing and listen closely. Because there's a good chance that one of the vegetables sitting in your fridge right now, yes, the one you've been told is heart-healthy or rich in fiber, is slowly killing your testosterone, shrinking your stamina, and turning you into a softer, slower, foggier version of yourself. And no, this has nothing to do with aging. It has everything to do with what you're putting on your plate. I'm Dr. Simon. I've spent over 30 years helping men restore their energy, reclaim their vitality, and reconnect with the version of themselves they thought was gone for good. And today, I'm going to expose a dangerous lie that's been quietly stealing your strength. It's the lie that says all vegetables are good for you. Because that couldn't be further from the truth, especially if you're over 60 and noticing changes in your bedroom performance, your energy levels, or the way your body recovers. I've seen men come into my office exhausted, frustrated, embarrassed. Men who were doing everything right, salads, steamed veggies, tofu, green smoothies, yet still felt cold in their legs, dull in their minds, and distant from their wives. And after one look at their diet, I knew the real reason. Certain vegetables, the very ones promoted as healthy, are packed with estrogen-mimicking compounds, artery-constricting chemicals, and inflammation triggers that disrupt your hormones and stiffen your blood flow in all the wrong places. But here's the good news. When you remove these 4 silent saboteurs from your plate and replace them with 4 power-packed vegetables that support testosterone, restore blood circulation, and protect your prostate, the results can be nothing short of transformational, sometimes within just 7 days. So stay with me because I'm about to reveal the 4 vegetables you must never eat after 60, the 4 vegetables you must start eating today, and one simple change that can restart your manhood without a single pill. Let's dive in and start rebuilding you from the inside out. His name was Gregory, a 66-year-old retired accountant from Phoenix. He walked into my office looking sharp, clean haircut, pressed shirt, but behind his polite smile I saw it right away. That familiar look in the eyes of a man who feels like he's quietly losing something. "Doc," he said, "I've been eating cleaner than ever, switched to soy milk, even replaced meat with tofu. But I feel off. I'm tired. I'm softer. And when it comes to performance, it's like something's missing." I ran his labs. Blood pressure? Fine. Cholesterol? Manageable. But then came the red flag. His estrogen was high, dangerously high for a man his age. And his testosterone? Practically flatlined. That's when I asked the question no other doctor had bothered to ask him. "Gregory, how much soy are you eating every day?" He thought for a second. "Tofu a few times a week, soy milk every morning, edamame as a snack." Then he chuckled nervously. "I thought it was healthy." Here's what most men over 60 don't know, and what the food industry won't tell you. Soy-based vegetables and products are loaded with phytoestrogens, plant compounds that mimic estrogen in the body. Now that might not seem like a big deal, but for a man whose testosterone is already declining naturally with age, every gram of extra estrogen is like adding weight to a sinking boat. What does that mean for you? It means slower recovery. It means a weaker, softer frame. And it means the fire in your bedroom starts to flicker, then fade. I've seen it in man after man. They think they're eating clean, but they're actually flooding their body with compounds that blunt their drive, deflate their confidence, and swell their prostate. And worst of all, soy sneaks into everything. Protein bars, dressings, snack mixes, fake meats, disguised as healthy. When Gregory cut out the soy, it didn't take long. In just 3 weeks, his wife sent me a handwritten note that said, "Thank you. You gave me my husband back." I'm not saying soy is poison for everyone, but if you're over 60, tired, and feel like your edge is slipping, then it's not worth the risk. Cut the soy. Reclaim your strength. And now, let's talk about the next vegetable that fools even the smartest men. One that's praised for heart health but could be clogging your arteries and draining your desire. When Howard, a 72-year-old retired postman from Ohio, sat down in my office, he looked confused, frustrated, and quietly defeated. "Doc," he said, "I've been eating beets almost every day. I read they're great for circulation, even help with, you know, but I'm still cold in my legs, I get winded fast, and it's not working down there either. I asked him a simple question. Howard, are you eating them fresh? He paused. No, canned mostly. Pickled sometimes. It's easier. And that right there was the problem. You see, fresh red beets are nature's circulation miracle. They're rich in dietary nitrates, compounds that your body converts into nitric oxide, the same molecule that helps your blood vessels open up and deliver blood exactly where you need it. But here's the ugly truth. When beets are canned, pickled, or processed, that power is destroyed. The heat from canning wipes out the nitrates. The brining process loads them with sodium and vinegar, which tighten your arteries instead of relaxing them. So while Howard thought he was doing the right thing, he was actually shrinking his blood flow, especially to the tiny vessels in his legs, and even more critically, to the pelvic floor. And yes, those are the same vessels responsible for firm, reliable erections. We did a quick dietary analysis. He was taking in nearly double the recommended daily sodium, most of it from his so-called healthy pickled veggies. That much salt doesn't just raise your blood pressure. It kills nitric oxide, stiffens your arteries, and over time, kills your performance. So I gave Howard one mission. Ditch the jars and cans. Roast your beets in the oven. Olive oil, sea salt, nothing fancy. Just real food. Real nutrients. 2 weeks later, his hands were warmer. By week 4, his wife said he was walking faster, sleeping deeper, and smiling wider. And by week 6, well, let's just say his confidence returned, without a single pill. This is what I mean when I say, not all vegetables are created equal. What starts as medicine can become poison if it's processed the wrong way. And the next vegetable on our list? It's praised as part of the Mediterranean diet, but in men over 60, it could be silently numbing your nerves and disconnecting you from your manhood. Let's talk about it. The first thing I noticed about Alvin was his handshake. He was 75, a retired furniture maker from Oregon, and his hands were worn like sandpaper. A lifetime of honest work carved into every wrinkle. But his eyes, they told another story. Doc, he said, my knees ache, my back's stiff, and worst of all, I feel nothing down there, not pain, just nothing. It wasn't the usual complaint of fatigue or poor drive. This was different. No sensation, no signal. Like the power was on, but the wires were dead. So I ran the tests. Heart, fine. Blood, clean. But I wasn't convinced. Something was off. Alvin, I asked, walk me through your meals. He smiled. My wife's a great cook. She makes baked eggplant almost every night, adds tomatoes, peppers, a little cheese, Mediterranean style. There it was. Eggplant. Here's what most men don't realize. Eggplant belongs to the nightshade family, along with tomatoes, white potatoes, and peppers. And while tomatoes can help your prostate when cooked right, eggplant is a different story, especially for men over 60. Why? Because eggplant contains alkaloids, natural plant chemicals that, in sensitive individuals, can trigger low-grade inflammation in the joints and nerves. Now combine that with age-related inflammation, reduced blood flow, and already sensitive pelvic nerves. You've got the perfect recipe for numbness, disconnect, and failure where it hurts most. That's exactly what happened to Alvin. His dead zone wasn't just about testosterone, it was about nerve conductivity. Think of your manhood like an electrical system. If the wires are corroded, even the strongest power supply can't do its job. So we stripped the eggplant from his diet. Cut back on other nightshades too. Within 3 weeks, the numbness began to fade. By the 6th week, he leaned in during a checkup and whispered, "Doc, it's coming back. I didn't think I'd ever feel it again." That's the power of removing inflammation from the right places. You don't need to avoid every tomato or pepper. But if you're noticing pelvic numbness, joint pain, or lack of connection, it's time to rethink the vegetables on your plate. And speaking of lost connection, the final vegetable on our do not eat list is one that almost every health guide promotes, especially for prostate health. But if you're overcooking it or nuking it in the microwave, it's doing the exact opposite. Let's uncover the hidden truth. If you've been told that cruciferous vegetables, like broccoli, cauliflower, or Brussels sprouts, are your best friend after 60, well, that's only half the truth. Because the way you cook them could be the very reason you feel weaker, foggier, and more disconnected every day. Let me tell you about Stanley, a 70-year-old retired math teacher from Florida. He came to me with classic complaints: low energy, frequent nighttime urination, fading performance in the bedroom. But what made Stanley different was his discipline. He followed every rule in the book: no sugar, no junk food. He even said proudly, "I steam my broccoli every night. Been doing that for 12 years. Then he smiled, expecting me to praise him. But instead, I asked him one question: "How long do you steam it?" He shrugged. "Until it's soft. Sometimes I microwave it if I'm in a rush." And that, my friend, was the problem. You see, cruciferous vegetables do contain powerful compounds, especially one called sulforaphane, that detox estrogen, reduce inflammation, and support your prostate and testosterone levels. But sulforaphane is incredibly sensitive to heat. Overcook it, even for a few minutes too long, and it vanishes. Microwave it? You might as well throw it away. So while Stanley thought he was strengthening his body with every bite, he was actually chewing on empty fiber. No hormone support, no inflammation control, no testosterone benefit. He was eating a weapon that had lost its edge. When I showed him how to lightly steam broccoli for just 3 minutes, or better yet, eat it raw with olive oil and lemon, something shifted. Within 2 weeks, he was sleeping through the night. A month later, he told me his mind felt sharper, his body lighter, and his mornings more energized. It wasn't magic. It was simply giving his body the nutrients it thought it had been getting all along, but never truly absorbed. Remember this: it's not just what you eat, it's how you prepare it. A vegetable can heal or harm, depending on the heat. Now that we've uncovered the 4 vegetables silently destroying your testosterone, circulation, and confidence, it's time to shift gears. Let me show you the 4 vegetables every man over 60 must start eating today if he wants to feel stronger, sharper, and more powerful, without pills, patches, or gimmicks. Let's begin with the quiet green that's been called rocket fuel for the bedroom. There's something powerful about watching a man come back to life, not just in his body, but in his eyes. That's what happened with Terrence, a 68-year-old former Air Force technician from North Carolina. He'd spent years operating machines, repairing engines, and flying through storms. But now he sat in front of me with slumped shoulders, quiet voice, and eyes full of doubt. "Doc," he said, "I'm not expecting miracles. I just want to feel like a man again. I want to wake up and know I'm still in there somewhere." Terrence had lost his wife 5 years earlier. Since then, his meals had gone beige: toast, pasta, meat, repeat. No color, no greens, and certainly no fuel for his circulation. That's when I introduced him to one of the most overlooked performance enhancers nature ever made: arugula. Now, most guys hear that and scoff. "It's just salad, Doc." But arugula isn't just a leaf, it's a vascular accelerator. Packed with natural nitrates, it boosts your body's production of nitric oxide, the molecule that opens up blood vessels, increases flow, and fuels every part of your performance, including the part you think is gone. Unlike synthetic pills that force the issue and come with nasty side effects, arugula works with your body's natural chemistry, helping it do what it was designed to do: rise on command. Terrence didn't expect much. He added a handful of arugula to his eggs in the morning and tossed some into a light salad at dinner. That's it. 1 week later, he came back with a strange look on his face. "I didn't think it was possible," he said, "but I felt something again, like a pulse I thought I'd lost. Doc, I woke up, and it was just there." That's the power of nitric oxide done right. No gimmicks, no prescriptions, just one green leaf that tells your body, you still got it. And arugula is just the beginning, because the next vegetable I'm going to show you, it's a deep red root that's messy to prepare, but when eaten fresh, it can restore circulation within 72 hours and light a fire that no pill ever could. Let's talk about it. If arugula is the ignition switch, then fresh roasted beets are the high-octane fuel that keeps the engine running strong. I'll never forget Curtis, 65, a retired firefighter from Tulsa. Big shoulders, thick voice, and the kind of man who'd once charged into burning buildings without hesitation. But when he came into my office, he looked deflated. "Doc," he said, "I still love my wife. I still want to show up for her. But lately I feel cold in my legs. I'm winded by stairs, and I'm pulling away." He wasn't talking about arguments. He meant the silent distance men create when they feel ashamed, when the body won't rise even though the heart wants to. We looked at his blood flow. It was sluggish. His nitric oxide levels? Almost non-existent. That's when I told him about beets. Not the canned ones swimming in sodium, not the pickled ones drowned in vinegar. I'm talking about fresh, roasted red beets straight from the earth. These deep red roots are packed with dietary nitrates, the natural building blocks for nitric oxide, the compound that relaxes and opens up blood vessels from your toes to your brain. And yes, all the way to your manhood. Beets work like nature's version of that little blue pill, only this time, your body's doing the work. Curtis was skeptical, but he gave it a shot. 3 times a week, he roasted beets with olive oil and a dash of sea salt. No fancy prep, just real food. By day 3, his legs felt warmer. By week 2, he was walking longer and sleeping better. And one morning, he came into my office with a half grin and said, "She held my hand last night, and this time, I didn't pull away." That's the quiet victory most men crave, not just physical performance, but the confidence to stay close, the warmth of being fully present again. Beets give you that, when they're fresh, roasted, and respected. But we're not done yet, because while beets boost blood flow, the next vegetable protects something even deeper, your prostate, and most men eat it the wrong way. Let me show you how to turn this everyday food into your body's silent guardian. If you're over 60 and waking up to pee twice, 3 times, maybe more each night, if you feel the pressure, the urgency, the hesitation that makes you dread using the bathroom, you're not alone and you're not broken. You might just be missing one crucial vegetable and preparing it the wrong way. Let me tell you about Frederick, a 74-year-old retired salesman from New Jersey, sharp dresser, silver hair, still held his wife's hand like they were high school sweethearts. But the smile was fading. "It's not just the bathroom trips," he said. "It's the way she looks at me. I feel like her patient now, not her partner." His tests showed mild prostate swelling, nothing alarming, but enough to slow him down, fog his brain, and dull his desire. So I asked him, "How often do you eat tomatoes?" He grinned. "Every day, in my salads, on sandwiches, raw and fresh." That's when I told him the truth that no one had ever shared. Raw tomatoes are fine, but they don't unlock the real power. When you cook tomatoes, they release lycopene, a potent antioxidant with a direct affinity for prostate tissue. Lycopene lowers inflammation, protects cells from oxidative damage, and has even been linked to reduced risk of prostate cancer and BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia. But here's the key. Lycopene is only bioavailable when tomatoes are cooked, and even better when paired with a healthy fat like olive oil. So I gave Frederick a plan. Add roasted tomatoes to dinner. Make a simple sauce with garlic and olive oil. Skip the raw slices. Cook them gently and let the lycopene work. 3 weeks later, he returned with a lighter step. "I slept through the night," he said. "And my wife, she noticed. She kissed me and said, 'You're smiling again.'" That's the power of a properly prepared tomato. It's not flashy, it's not trendy, but it works in silence, guarding your prostate day after day like a loyal sentry. And while tomatoes protect your manhood from within, the final vegetable in our list goes one step further. It helps unlock the testosterone your body already has. You don't need more hormone injections. You just need this one overlooked leafy green that can help you stand taller and feel stronger again. Let's get into it. There's a moment in every man's life when you look in the mirror and ask quietly, where did he go? Not the wrinkles, not the gray hair, but the fire, the edge, the part of you that stood tall, spoke boldly, moved with purpose. That's exactly where Raymond was when he walked into my office. He was 70, a retired literature professor from Vermont. Soft-spoken, gentle, still deeply in love with his wife of 43 years. But when he sat down, his voice trembled. "I'm still in love with her," he said, "but I just don't feel like a man anymore. My strength, my desire, even my posture, it's all slipping." He wasn't overweight, he wasn't on heavy meds, but his eyes told me everything. He felt invisible. We ran his labs, and the culprit wasn't surprising. Testosterone. Low. Not just total testosterone, but free testosterone. The kind your body can actually use. And here's where most doctors stop. They reach for a prescription pad. But I didn't. Because I've seen what spinach can do when used correctly and consistently. This humble leafy green is loaded with magnesium, folate, and natural nitrates, a perfect trio for aging men. Magnesium, especially, is crucial. It helps release bound testosterone, unlocking what's already in your blood so your body can put it to work. Spinach doesn't force testosterone. It frees it. And when combined with improved circulation, better nutrient absorption, and hormone balance, you start to feel like you again. I told Raymond to steam a handful each morning, add it to eggs, blend it into smoothies. Simple, consistent, no excuses. 3 weeks later, he walked in a little taller. 5 weeks in, he smiled more, cracked jokes again. But the moment that mattered most, he told me, "My wife leaned over and whispered, 'You're standing like the man I married.'" That, right there, is what spinach gave him back. Not just hormones, but dignity. Because when you nourish your testosterone naturally, without pills or patches, you don't just change numbers on a chart. You change the way you walk through the world. And now that you know the 4 vegetables to avoid and the 4 to embrace, there's one final piece missing: the shift that turns knowledge into transformation. Let's talk about what really happens when you choose like a man again. I've spent more than 3 decades helping men rise again after 60, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And do you know the most powerful truth I've discovered? Transformation never starts with a pill. It starts with a fork. I've seen it in men like Gregory, who removed soy from his plate and felt his fire return. In Howard, who switched from pickled beets to fresh roasted ones and felt warmth flood back into his legs. In Alvin, who ditched eggplant and finally felt sensation returning to the parts of him he thought were lost forever. And in Stanley, who stopped microwaving his broccoli and slept through the night for the first time in years. These weren't miracles, they were choices. Tiny, daily, boring choices, made with intention and knowledge. And then there are the men who added the right vegetables. Men like Terrence, who added a handful of arugula and felt something stir inside he hadn't felt in years. Curtis, who roasted beets and walked taller with every step. Frederick, who cooked his tomatoes and watched his nighttime urgency melt away. And Raymond, who steamed spinach and finally stood with the quiet strength that only a confident man carries. You see, aging doesn't mean fading. It means adapting, learning, and choosing differently. Your body is still listening, and when you give it what it truly needs, nutrients that support testosterone, circulation, nerve health, and hormone balance, it responds, not overnight, but consistently, silently, powerfully. The man you used to be? He's not gone. He's waiting, under layers of misinformation, processed foods, and healthy habits that never served you. Now you have the truth. Now you know which 4 vegetables are dragging you down, and which 4 can bring you back. So the only question left is this: what kind of man do you want to be next week, next month, next year? Because your body is ready, your mind is ready, and all it takes is one good choice, repeated with purpose. If you've made it this far, then something inside you already knows the truth. You were never meant to fade away. You were never meant to trade your strength for a rocking chair, your drive for daily pills, or your manhood for a quiet life of just getting by. But if you're eating the wrong vegetables, if you're flooding your system with estrogen, clogging your arteries, inflaming your nerves, and boiling the power out of your food, you're handing your vitality away with every bite. And I'm here to tell you, enough is enough. This is your line in the sand. This is your moment to reclaim what age and misinformation have tried to steal. Because now you know the truth. Soy-based vegetables are not harmless. They're hormonal hand grenades for men over 60. Pickled and canned beets don't help your blood flow. They shut it down. Nightshades like eggplant can numb your nerves from the inside out. And cruciferous vegetables, when overcooked or microwaved, don't protect your hormones. They destroy what little power remains. But you also know what works. Arugula to jumpstart your nitric oxide and light a fire in your blood vessels. Fresh roasted beets to restore full-body circulation and revive your legs, your brain, your bedroom. Cooked tomatoes to protect your prostate and reduce that maddening pressure that keeps you up at night. And spinach to free the testosterone already hiding in your bloodstream and help you feel like a man again. These aren't theories. They're not guesses. They're real strategies that have brought thousands of men back to life, one forkful at a time. So here's what I want you to do next. Start today, not tomorrow, not next Monday, now. Clear your fridge of the 4 energy-sapping vegetables, start adding in the 4 game changers, and give your body 7 days to show you what it can still do. Because your best years are not behind you. They're waiting, right on the other side of one simple decision. Eat like a man who refuses to give up. Live like a man who still has something to prove. And rise like a man who knows he's not done yet. Your next chapter begins now.